Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. Background being aerospace, medical implants, medical materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where we dealt with every industry. I've told you that many times. The crux of this video will be down in the description. You'll find all kinds of featured articles concerning Boeing, the FAA, etc. You'll also discover in these articles and other videos down in the description that Boeing was made a regulator, an FAA regulator, in 2009. In 2002, I'm going to show you this now very shortly, that they came out with a supplier bulletin for all their suppliers, and they basically said, if you are AS9100 certified, as long as it is ANSI ANAB accredited, just send us a certificate and just send us your parts, and Boeing does not have to send any inspectors out to your facility. I'm sure it really didn't go all together like that per se. I'm sure they did sample inspection for their suppliers, possibly. Who knows? Nobody knows, but the way the supplier bulletin goes, they didn't do shit. And we have a very special guest here. We have Mr. Ed Pearson, who's come out in many, he's like the Dalai Lama because he was a manager there at Boeing, and he retired before, he actually left his job before the Malaysian Air and Indonesian Air crashed. I always get Malaysia and Indonesia and Ethiopian and all the rest of that. Actually, it was Ethiopian Air and Indonesian Air who crashed. One crashed in 2018, the other in 2019, maybe 5 or 6 months apart. So Ed left, and he's like the Dalai Lama, but he doesn't understand. I just did a video for Ed to explain to him what the problem is, and it's very systemic, starting in 2002 and going into 2009 with the FAA giving them regulatory authority, which meant the 737 MAX, they did not have to report back to the FAA about the MCAS system. Don't let anybody talk to you about that, like Mike Whitaker, who was inquisitioned by the Congress, who really doesn't know their ass from page 10 when it comes to aerospace. They should contact me at 203-556-1493 or Daryl, Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. We have contacted organizations like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, CBS, etc., all of these news media outlets, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and they're not getting back because they don't want you, the public, to know that Boeing gave up, they gave up supplier inspection for a piece of paper. This video today is about FAA Regulator 2009 Boeing, intermixed with supplier quality 2002 self-regulation causes failures. Let's put it down. This is about Boeing, Boeing aircraft, okay? The problem too is Boeing sits on the American National Standards Institute / the American National Crediting Board. ANSI took over complete control over ANAP in 2018. They're one and the same company, but they try to keep them separate. Another very poor thing is that on ANSI's board also sits the FAA, who gave regulatory authority up in 2009 to Boeing. So they basically did not have to tell anyone about the MCAS system. They didn't have to tell anybody about 50 rivets missing in planes, as we most recently heard. You also have the factor, just a sidebar to all this, you have Pfizer who sits on there, Johnson & Johnson, all of them skip quality processes and standards sitting right over by their accreditation body, ANAB, okay, that ANSI took over in 2018. You have Lockheed Martin, who after their 801st F-35, they still producing crap. And, you know, even during their regulatory authority run, and they still are, nobody has said they got it taken away, this is what happened. You have skipping quality processes and standards, fudging documentation, Boeing as a regulator, which means this. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take the curtain down. And here we go. Yes. We have Mr. David Calhoun up here. We have Mr. Stan Deal, Boeing, of course. We have former Mr. Dennis Muhlenberg. You also have James McNerney, who started this process about being FAA regulator under his management style, okay? He oversaw the development of the 737 MAX. He should really be taken to task. Out of the whole general consensus here with these people, you have Patrick Shanahan, who when asked when he was the Deputy Secretary of Defense, how is the F-35? And he said it's fucked up. Well, as I just explained to Patrick, that not only is the program fucked up, but the aircraft itself is. And it goes, since Jim's the man of the hour, James Taslett, what's happening there? They all sit on ANSI's board. Fudging documentation, all the rest of this. But all the documentation will be down below this video. In 2002, you have this, their supplier bulletin that stated that if you are AS9100 certified and you're ANSI ANAB accredited, just send us that certification in and we will accept all your parts. We don't need to send any inspectors out to your facility. This is one of the crucial items that Mr. Ed Pearson is missing during his authority as far as being the advisor and being questioned by Congress, etc. He is missing the most crucial point. The root cause of this problem is starting in 2002 when Boeing accepted a piece of paper as a viable form of their quality, their supplier's quality, sending in materials. To compound that problem, when you have them in 2017, skipping quality processes, fudging documentation, what does that tell? Maybe they learned it from the FAA, because if they're an FAA regulator, who else is going to teach them? You also have the factor in 2009 that the FAA increased authority of Boeing's commercial airlines division to self-certify its own aircraft, which means this. It means that the system allows Boeing employees to perform tasks on behalf of the FAA that include oversight and testing of product standards along with certification of aircraft technologies and new aircraft designs, which means they had FAA authority. That means they didn't have to tell about the MCAS system being put in the 737 MAX. They didn't have to do that because they are the FAA. So when you hear Mr. David Calhoun talk about our regulator, the FAA, I don't think he even knows. And as a CEO, not to know if you're a regulator or not, he was there in 2009. In 2009, David Calhoun was on the board of directors. They made Boeing an FAA regulator. That means once he became the CEO, he's now an FAA administrator. There's something really, as Patrick Shanahan would say, fucked up in the system. And they will not overcome this issue. They need somebody on the floor. They need me and my team, Daryl Guberman. I've been saying that again and again and again. So I say it again. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS, @yahoo.com. And one last item, on Boeing Supplier Portal, and you can go find it now, it states that the third-party registrar must be ANSI ANAB accredited or international accredited or recognized that sit on the IAF. ANSI and ANAB are underwriters for the International Accreditation Form, which is a repository for all national and international accreditation bodies. On top of it, they are also an underwriter for the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. They have such a clutch on this mess that quality will never get out of a paper bag. Right now, it is in there. Again, I look forward to hearing from you, and this is just a brief video. Again, this video is FAA Regulator 2009, Boeing intermixed with supplier quality 2002 self-regulation causes failure. I thank you.